Alright, welcome back everybody.
Back.
I'm Matt.
Jimmy.
And we are Two Average Guys. Sorry for the very sad song to be playing there in the beginning. I felt like it was appropriate after yesterday's game that we'd have something a little, a little more sad on the song today rather than a pick-me-up song. I don't know, it was kind of a rough game to watch yesterday, to say the least. I only watched the first half, to be honest. And the reason why was after watching the first half, we got pushed around offensively, defensively. I think our play calling was questionable. A lot of people are saying, Vedral is just as good, if not better, than Martinez. Put him in. I don't think it was Vedral's fault, but I do think our play calling could have been a little better, especially when we got down inside the 30. One of our first drives, we got down inside the 30. I thought it was just very questionable play calling. But I've been questioning the play calling all year.
First drive of the game was pretty promising right off the bat. I mean, we were able to move the ball a little bit, and we got into a spot where I said, this is 4-down territory, and then we go for it. We don't get it. That kind of set things the way it was right off the bat, and then we couldn't stop. They pushed us around. Both sides.
And
up front.
I really thought going into that game, we talked about it the week before, and I remember talking about Minnesota and how, they're undefeated, they haven't played a tough schedule, but one thing we knew about last year, we beat them last year, we beat them pretty good last year.
And we were 0-6 and we beat the crap out of them.
But one thing we knew was that their big boys up front, they were big on both sides of the ball. And I said that last week. I said their guys up front can push, and I was worried about our offensive line.
Yeah.
I didn't think our defensive line was going to play like they did yesterday. I think that was the most eye-opening thing for me going up against Minnesota was how bad our defensive line played, and our linebackers got pushed around a lot.
And like I said, they wanted to get the linebackers going this way,
side to side,
and then they just blew their guys up front just blew us off the ball. They had holes all day. I mean, there was one guy had like 4 carries for 74 yards at one point.
I mean,
he was like their main guy.
Their average in their first 4 games for rushing the ball was like 2.6, and then after
at halftime it was 10.
Yeah, it was 12 at one point.
I'm pretty sure it was 10 because I drove home.
Yeah, at halftime. About it on the radio. And so it was revealing to me more than anything else about where the program currently is at. You remember before Big Ten Media Days, people gave Bill Moose a really hard time about when he said,
6 and 6.
No, he didn't say that.
Well,
he said, let's get 6.
Right.
So focus on winning 6, bowl game territory, and then we'll focus on the rest of the season. And now people are like, wow, maybe Bill Moose is kind of smart. Maybe that was a good thing to say because where we're at now, I hope we get 6.
Probably had to sit down with Scott, and Scott said, I want just as badly as everybody else to go 10-2, compete for the West title, maybe win the Big Ten.
Yep.
But that's not where we're at.
Yeah, and Ross just said, he thought defense would win us the game. And
I thought that they could win us the game.
And it looked like they didn't want to be there. And honestly, a lot of people say it looked like no effort. I even said we didn't compete. I don't think it's they didn't want to be there. And I think the competition level, I think we were in over our heads, and maybe we doubted Minnesota and what they could do up front because, like Flex said, we went side to side on because watching film, they've seen other teams do that. Yeah. You can move side to side. It makes it hard for our linebackers to squeeze through their big boys up front and around our big guys up front on defensive line. And we didn't move well side to side at all. I mean, we missed tackles. We didn't hit the gaps, or we hit the wrong gap. Their running backs, and give them credit, they did a good job of finding the holes. They did a good job of slipping tackles. I don't think weather played anything into that game at all. It was cold for both teams.
If anything, it probably helped Minnesota because they didn't need to throw the ball. They could just run the ball. And that's
another thing
was working.
Another thing we couldn't do. I thought it was going to be a run game. I was like, there's going to be a run game. I think both teams are going to have to run the ball, which I thought we'd be in favor. Mo Washington's clearly still hurt. Dedrick Mills clearly still hurt because they were both there last week. And
Wandale goes out.
And then
I said we're effed, man, because
Yeah.
there's who else?
Well, but give Wyatt Missouri a chance. Give Belts a chance. I mean,
Okay.
they didn't take many of their starters out until late fourth quarter, from what I heard. So we got a guy who can run the ball.
Yeah.
But that wasn't our problem. It was our offensive line, and we were just not physical enough, and we're not strong enough. We got a lot of youth on that line. We got a walk-on freshman as our left guard. I mean, we got so much youth on that line, and no matter who you have in at quarterback or running back, we weren't going to win the game last
That's
night.
probably the biggest takeaway I'd say is, people have been calling for Martinez to be pulled, and I disagreed with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said,
We've disagreed since day one.
even if Vedral or McCaffrey is just as good or slightly not as good,
Yeah.
I mean, it has no difference because the offensive line hasn't been able to get the job done.
Yeah, no, that game was not going to be won by our quarterback last night.
No.
No matter what quarterback, you could have a running quarterback, a dual threat, you could have a pocket passer. It wasn't going to matter. We weren't going to win that game with anybody, I don't think.
There's just not really a lot to say. It was pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
And it was, I always watch all the games, and I actually quit watching it. There was better games on.
Better games, and honestly,
I'm sorry I kept it up on my phone,
yeah.
but...
And a lot of people there's a lot of arguing between Husker fans on social media as usual. I mean,
don't go down those rabbit holes.
It gets to a point where people argue with each other, and there's no point. I mean, you're arguing about something you can't control.
And you're like 45 years old, and it's like an 18, 19-year-old kid that you're like upset about, and you're going to argue with another 45-year-old about it.
Well, and you got your armchair quarterbacks. I mean, yeah, I've done it here and there, but I try to be
I'll be critical, but
I try to be as positive as possible and look for things where can we improve. And yesterday was everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah. I mean, we couldn't do anything. And I even posted something on our Facebook page that said we don't know what we're doing because that's how bad it was. And people are very sensitive about the quarterback situation. Some people have 100% Vedral needs to be in there. Is Vedral better? I don't think so. Talent-wise, is he good? Absolutely. I think he could run. Yeah. I think he could run the offense instead of Adrian. But I still feel like Adrian
gets hurt like he did. And it's probably a good call that they didn't play him. Give him rest this week and rest the bye week, and then he's ready to go because he's clearly the number one quarterback.
And
you gotta protect him.
Yeah. So Pooh just brought up Ramir Johnson. I mean, yeah, we've seen him.
The same thing.
We've seen him in one game, but.
And I texted you. I said they put Bunch in, and I said, why didn't they put McCaffrey in?
Yep.
And you said, well, they're not going to win the game, and I know
exactly.
They technically brought him in last week for one snap, and that's one game. And
they had
they didn't have to.
Yeah, well, they could have brought Bunch in.
They could have brought Bunch in,
but for the play we needed to do, they weren't going to bring Bunch in to run the ball.
Right. It was a kind of a critical time in the game, so
yeah.
It made sense. But in a game like that, I thought maybe they should have put him in to get him because he's got to play 4 games, but. There could be just some more thought process of down the road when we need to win a game to get to 6.
Yes.
And maybe Martinez is healthy, so Vedral's playing and he gets hurt.
Or we're going to do
maybe we do need McCaffrey to pop in there, and we don't want to. They're not going to burn his red shirt.
Or do something just really funny.
They are not. He said they're not going to burn.
Or they'll do something funny on offense where they need him for kind of a trick play where he's going to throw the ball or he's going to run the ball. I mean, like I said to you, I think probably the same thing with Ramir. The game we weren't going to win last night. Why put a kid in a situation where they either are going to get slashed behind the line and get their butt kicked, potentially get injured, or why put them in a chance when they don't have a chance to shine? I mean, I see it from there's really no point to put in 2 guys that we want to redshirt. That was my point of view, but I understand the other point.
That's actually a good point. You don't want to put somebody in there and not let them get confidence. You want to put them in. If you absolutely have to,
yep.
Or you need to win a game, or the game's already out of hand.
Yeah.
In your favor. And you could have them go in there and look good.
And now it's 30 degrees and snow.
Yes.
So that's another thing. But I think, overall yesterday we got beat. We got beat up front. We got beat
everywhere.
And really on offense, you can just look at our offensive line. It wasn't anything else in the game that we could have done because our offensive line didn't give us a chance to protect the quarterback, didn't give us a chance to break out any runs. We couldn't go side to side with our passes because their defense was beating us to that ball.
Yeah, I mean, we did a couple couple screens or swing passes to Wandale and.
But when you don't have time.
Well, yeah, and
it makes it hard to break open the
there
screen.
was a couple of times that we did that to him, and he shook a tackler and made something positive out of it.
Yeah.
But once he went down, I mean, that was it. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I know JD can do that, but, you know, even him, he was getting banged around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing that was pretty sad to see, especially because I do feel like our run defense has been a lot better.
Yeah.
We'd have them stopped like 4 or 5 yards from the line, or, you know, a 4 or 5 yard run, and they would push the pile for 12 to 14, 15 yards, like every time.
And they got a couple long third down plays, a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 11 I think they got. I mean, it was, I don't know what's going on with your light.
I don't know what's going on with the light either.
I don't know.
If it's annoying, sorry. The light over there.
The light's flickering.
Go out.
We got some ghosts. But, you know, I think it's one of those things where, like I said, last night was eye-opening. It should have been eye-opening to the fans because you got to remember a lot of these guys are still, I mean, Frost and staff have only had, a year and a half of recruiting technically, of bringing kids in, almost 2 full years. So you still got guys that are young, freshmen, sophomores, that still need a lot of development. So there's still a lot of guys I think we need to bring in. Ross asked about, you know, is it a thing where we need to get Riley's guys out to get Frost guys in? We still got 4 or 5 commits after the Ohio State blowout.
Yeah.
We still have 4 or 5 guys commit. So they're doing something right on the recruiting trail. I don't know what it is, but guys are attracted to Nebraska for something, and there's got to be a reason why they're able to pull in. I mean, we're in the top 10 for 2021 right now.
Yeah.
For 2021, I mean, for 2020,
I think we're like 28.
Yeah.
Something.
So I mean, we still have some room to grow, but our line, offense, defensive line's got to be number one.
And it could be just, hey, look at how things are.
Yep.
We've got some guys that can make some plays and get some things done, but we need guys around them. We need you.
Yeah. And you got to have guys like JD, hell of a talent, but if we can't get him the ball.
And if he's the only one, and Wandale gets hurt, he's the only one.
Well,
there's a couple other guys that, you know, were in the game that maybe had a catch here or there, but no one's really stepped up.
Yeah, so I'm starting to wonder from what I heard, Vedro got hurt last night, which is why Bunch came in.
Oh, I quit watching.
So if that's the case too, what's the update there? Is Adrian going to be good to go in 2 weeks? What happened to his knee? I mean, a lot of people want to know what's the injury. I don't really care. I just hope that they come back and they come back healthy. Wandale was on a boot, came back out on a boot, so thank God he wasn't on crutches. He was just on a walking boot. But you know, those are the things that people think they need to be privy to everything that happens with the football team. These are kids 18 to 22 years old. If coach doesn't want to tell us, we don't deserve anything. I ended up blocking 5 guys from the Omaha World Herald and other reporters yesterday on Nebraska football because of the negativity and just the bitchiness and whininess of, they didn't tell us JD and Adrian are going on the trip. They don't owe you anything. You're going to find out when they go on the plane.
And there's a reason they're doing that, and it's to make the other team have to prepare for everything.
Yeah.
To prepare for Adrian.
Yeah, because you can't prepare for Federal, and I mean, the game plan is different.
Have to plan for Martinez, and then say, well, this Federal kid has played a little bit.
Yeah, we don't have much on him, but
we got to prep for both of them.
Yep. Yeah, I had to just stop following him on Twitter just because it's becoming just a crap show. Especially, you know, a lot of people joke about Omaha World Herald, they're just trying to get riders, how their subscription's doing, and these riders, I can tell why people hate on them is because their stories are crap. They either make up stuff or they whine about not getting all the information that they want. But fans are doing this.
Fans are really mad. I tried. The Ohio State game, I did not check social media all night.
Yeah.
It was great. I woke up on Sunday, checked a little bit, kind of the aftermath had passed. It was all move on. I checked a little bit more last night, and it's not even worth, like, reading what people have to say.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
People can say and hate and whatever. But
yeah, and there's still people. There was a USA Today article like, "Oh, if Frost can't fix it, then who can?" Like, dude, it's a year and a half into his tenure with Nebraska. Like, he doesn't even have all his guys playing. Give him time.
Right.
And people are gonna say, "Oh, you didn't give Riley time." Riley was a shitty coach.
Yep.
He was a terrible. The fact he went 9-4 in his second year and then dipped back down to 4-8 should have told you a lot about his staff. That 9-4 was those people. That was not his
seniors.
That's not his class that did that.
And
his third year.
Not only that, it was Tommy Armstrong as a senior, Jordan Westerkamp as a senior, and you had a kind of a cupcake schedule for most of the first part of the year, and that's why they started out like 7-0.
Yeah, and so if people want to point back, no better than Riley. I highly disagree, and people think that Scott Frost is blowing smoke up people's asses. No, I think Frost is a great coach. He has a plan in mind. He said it more than once this year. We don't have the talent this year to do what people want us to do. And, yeah, it sucks hearing that probably as a player more than anything else. But, I mean, the players should be able to see it when they get whooped by Ohio State the way they did, and they got whooped by Minnesota. If that's not eye-opening to the guys, are they competing? Are they playing? Absolutely. Are they as competitive as the other guys in the Big Ten right now? No.
Probably not. And that's the biggest takeaway from Frost coaching at UCF.
Yep. Different conference.
The AAC is like a high speed, a lot of scoring for all the teams. I mean.
Yeah, so I think people need to change their expectations a little bit and realize, again, these are 18, 19, 20, 21, maybe 22-year-olds playing college football. These are not pro athletes. They're not getting paid millions of dollars. I can shit on my Cowboys all day today because they lost to an 0-4 Jets. I can talk trash about every single player on that team. You know why? They're adults. They're getting paid millions of dollars to play a game. They should be a lot better.
They're holding out to get better contracts.
Yeah, give me more money or I'm not playing. I mean, those guys I can talk crap about all day, but you're going to talk crap about a college football player.
Talk crap about Jameis Winston throwing 5 picks.
Yeah, so I mean, just I think people need to it's a game. Sit back, relax. If you can't enjoy the game, do what I did last night and against Ohio State. Don't watch it anymore. Because guess what? Was I so frustrated last night after not watching the entire half of football? Yes. You want to know why I didn't turn it back on after coming home from my in-laws? Because I got 6 text messages on the way home. And that was the start of the second half. WTF, we suck, we can't tackle, what are we doing? And, wow, I can't believe it's this hard being a Nebraska fan. You get text messages like that, why do I want to go in and turn on the game?
No.
I already know it's probably 21-0.
Go turn on.
I watched the Iowa Penn State game.
Which was good.
Very good.
Turn on LSU and Florida. That was good.
That was good.
Notre Dame and USC was good.
And playoff baseball was on. So, I mean, you had so many other things you could do.
Wasn't very good.
Yeah, the Yankees won, but you could do so many other things rather than be ticked off about a game when there's so much more to life than a football game. I am a diehard Husker fan. Yep. Jimmy is a diehard Husker fan. But I'm not stooping to the level. Like, yeah, we rode Lamar Jackson pretty hard for a while, but that's probably the worst we've given to any player on this show.
And I did see he was predicted to be a first-round draft
pick
by CBS Sports this week. Not that he will be. I don't know that he will be.
Our corners and safeties had a great game because they didn't have to do anything except try to tackle 20 yards downfield. They didn't have to cover a wide receiver, and that's what we were worried about was a wide receiver.
And actually, they did cover their wide receivers pretty good.
Yeah, but we didn't need to. They didn't even throw the ball.
When they did, we covered them pretty good. Mm-hmm. I have that Bateman guy on my college team, and he's a stud. And I didn't play him, and I'm like, if he scores a bunch of points, whatever, I'm not playing him. Yeah. And he didn't score. He got scored like 2 points. So
Patrick says hard to swallow a pill for Cornhusker Nation. It is. Nebraska's terrible. Riley's garbage players are what's keeping the team down. Once they're gone, Frost can get his players there. It'd be better. Martinez is not leaving after next year. No, he's not. I think if he would have had a stellar year this year, we may have seen him gone after next year, but he's not.
Right.
He'll never take a snap in today's NFL game. Absolutely. And I don't think anyone would disagree with that. And if you do, then you're blinded. But Patrick, I agree. I mean, yeah, we are terrible. We should, now I will say we should be able to beat Indiana, we should be able to beat Purdue, and we should be able to beat Maryland, but those are shoulds. Because we know Nebraska football, we know what we've seen and what we may see.
Purdue beat up on Maryland yesterday. Maryland didn't have their quarterback.
And Purdue's beat up anyways, and so they're struggling as well. But
yeah, it's a team full of, like you said, either Riley's leftover players that never really worked very hard. Yeah. Maybe they are now, but maybe a little too late.
Yeah.
Or it's 3/4 of the team is new in the last year and a half.
We got a lot of young guys, a lot of freshmen, sophomores.
And that's what Minnesota did a couple of years before us.
And last year they were
started
still
fresh,
in that. Yeah.
and they're still that same type of way. And they're on a little bit of a better path than us right now. You know, it was a little bit weird, I would say, that we beat them up so bad last year when we were 0-6. So we were on the up climb then.
Yep.
Right now, with injuries and lack of depth, it just makes it that much more difficult.
And Patrick, it is a hard pill to swallow, and that's kind of what we're saying is, you know, you just kind of got to realize what happened last night, and if you thought, even had hope for an 8-win season, 9-win season, I mean, it's out the window now, but, you know, you can hope for 6-6. If we go 7-5, I think it's possible, but we got to see improvement, and that loss last night, hopefully this bye week kind of get their head back on straight, where we can push forward.
Some guys healthy. Yep. Getting a couple weeks off.
So, Brandon, I mean, this is kind of a hard question for us to answer, but can we go after kids at smaller colleges that have 2 years playing, move them over to bigger college, Hastings, Kearney, Omaha, Omaha, I'm not sure what you're talking about with Omaha. We don't have a football team at UNO, but that better players to why our team's getting the kids.
Iowa Western.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really seeing a lot of JUCOs, or, I mean, Kearney, I don't know what their football team looks like. I don't know if they're any good, though. I don't think they are. So, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to look at. I think we do need to look locally more often, which Frost is doing. But, again, Riley didn't do that. Riley was trying to recruit West Coast, pro offensive style guys. And that pro offensive style is not something that really works for a lot of college teams. And right now, Frost is looking for speed. He's looking for guys that can pass the ball, run the ball, catch the ball, play defense, but keep up with other wide receivers. I mean, they're looking for speed, and that's something that the Big Ten can handle, but we also get that strength. And you may get some of that at JUCOs, you may get some grad transfers, but, I mean, it's hard to say because I don't know what the rest of Nebraska looks like from as far as who else is getting these kids. I don't know who out of Omaha is making big waves other than the walk-ons, you know, coming on to Nebraska right now. But you're right. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do to do better.
I think it starts with the offensive and defensive line. I mean, you look at any team that's in the top 10 right now.
Yeah.
Their offensive and defensive lines are.
Their quarterback's got days to throw.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch any of that Texas-Oklahoma game yesterday, I mean, Ellinger and Hurts, they're staying in the pocket for 10 seconds before they throw the ball.
Yep.
And at that point, their wide receivers are wide open.
Yep.
Because they have time to keep running the routes or run a different route. I mean, that's how good the lines are for these other teams, and we're seeing it across the nation. And it's Nebraska. I mean, we had 0 depth. Riley left 0 depth at our line, and that's hard to recruit in a couple of years to get people ready to play at a Big Ten level.
Yep.
For Frost and the staff, it's really hard to do.
Yep.
Dwayne asked, given the offensive inability to put together 4 solid quarters, we haven't seen that this year.
Northern Illinois.
Yes.
Probably the closest.
Doesn't see any of the remaining games that should win. I'll always say they should win the game. Obviously, Wisconsin, Iowa, we're not big enough up front.
Wisconsin's scary good.
I bet Jonathan Taylor was drooling last night when he was watching. If he heard about the game or watched any of the game, I don't see us beating those 2 teams. I see us potentially winning 3 of our last 5. Once again, it's a should win because it really is a should win. But those 3 teams are not better than us on the line, and their defense is not as good as what we saw in Minnesota, what we saw at Ohio State. We're not going to see that defense of those 3 opponents that we said we should win. But I get what you're saying, Dwayne, and it's like I said, it's a should win. But it's one of those games where we're Husker fans, we're realistic, and we know that we're just going to have to watch the game and see what happens.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, receivers. I think, it's funny. I think we got some good redshirt receivers. Some guys we haven't seen yet that can do some stuff. Cade Warner was finally back, but we didn't see him. Nothing happened with him until late, and I wasn't watching, but everyone's like, where's he been? He's been hurt. He had a broken foot before the season started, so he hadn't been playing. He's been rehabbing, so it was good to see him back on the field. I hope we see him more. I think he's a difference maker. I don't know what happened with Mike Williams. I was really high on him before the game started, or before the year started. Haven't seen much of him. And when you do see him, he's dropping balls. So not sure what happened with that senior. Let's see. Ross was at the Iowa Penn State game last night. it was a boring game. Pulled the Husker game, and I don't know what was worse.
The Iowa jerseys were worse than.
Yes,
both.
and he's right. Iowa's offense is not good. Nate Stanley is not good. But then again, we're seeing offenses that
their defense is good.
Yeah, their defense is solid. They're bigger than us up front on both sides of the ball. So whether their offense is good or not, well, maybe not on the offensive line. I don't know what that looks like, but their defensive line can push us around. So why are we going after offensive line JUCOs and stuff for freshman recruits? Kind of did with Daniels. Daniels was a transfer, a grad transfer. Once again, I think it's kind of hard. You have to know who's going to fit the team too. I mean, not all JUCOs are made out to play D1 football.
Well,
and it's kind of tough.
Even transfers like Noah, not Noah Vedro, kind of Noah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we're not playing him in the right spot or something, but he's been non-existent.
Yeah, but then again, you go back to our offensive line.
True.
If you gotta get the ball out in 2 seconds or less, that's
true.
NFL quarterbacks aren't doing that on the regular. So it really is. It goes back to our offensive line throughout the season, but our defensive line last night and the rest of our defensive core linebackers. It just. I don't think it was a try thing. I think it was we just got beat. We weren't the better team, and that's hard to say when we're playing Minnesota. We weren't the better team, but give it up to Minnesota. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, and that's. When that happens, that's all you can do is say, hey, congrats on your win. You guys ran the ball down our throats, and you didn't really have to throw the ball because you got to do what you wanted to do on offense, and we couldn't stop you. So why stop?
Exactly.
And that is that pill that's very hard to swallow for probably everybody, is we got beat by a better Minnesota team. I'm not going to say that again. That hurts. But if you can't admit it, then you're still in the delusional phase that we're championship bound this year.
I think they're a little better than people expected them to be.
Yeah, and they've had a cupcake schedule until they saw us. And I don't know, maybe we're really not as good as we think we could potentially be.
Sure too.
So I think there's a lot of things wrong with last night, but you gotta look at both sides of the ball. You gotta look at who's remaining on our schedule, and can we get to a bowl game? Can we win 6? Can we potentially win 7? Yes. Can we win more than that? Highly doubtful.
Probably not.
Highly doubtful. So we'll see. We'll always be Husker fans. We're always going to love our team. But it's hard it is hard being a Husker fan. My brother said that last night. It's hard being a Husker fan. It's been hard for a lot of years because we grew up in the 90s. We saw the championships, and no one wants to live in the past, but it's really hard to get past, hey, we were good even in, 18 years ago and, 9-4, and we've seen a lot of 9-3s and a couple 10-2s in the last decade, and then all of a sudden we plummet. And maybe that's what we need to do is come back down to earth before we can get back to the moon.
There's a reason that we gave him 7 years, so there's a reason for us is 7 years. So one more question. Ross asked, do you think it'd be less painful if we didn't have all the preseason hype? I think it depends on who drank all the Kool-Aid. I hate it. We were 4-8.
Yeah.
Tell everyone we're not going to be good.
And again, all these reporters, you look back at the reporters, the guys writing the stories, hyping up Nebraska, and now they're all like, we suck, this is terrible, they don't tell us anything, we can't do this. You got Dirk Chatelain out there, he's the worst. He's been a hater of Nebraska for a long time, but he likes us. But like I said, I probably blocked 5 or 6 guys that report on Husker football last night. I couldn't stand it. They go from, we're going to be good, we're going to potentially win 10 games, we have a really good team, this and that, and now they just write crap, and they just talk shit about the Huskers, and I'm like, I can't stand it. Like, you guys are professional writers, and this is what you put out on Twitter, and this is what you write, your columns, like, they're awful.
Yeah.
I don't know why, if you're following them, don't follow them anymore, because they just piss you off. It's not worth it.
I don't even check that stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's why I just blocked it. I'm like, it's not worth my time, it's just, it makes me mad, that's why, because I love my Huskers, and win or lose, I love them, and
that's why
it's hard to look at what other people say.
I got stuck reading people's stupid comments today, and I was like, what am I doing?
You go down a rabbit hole on social media, and it just pisses you off. So don't do it. Just if it starts to make you mad, get off. If a Husker game is making you mad, stop watching. You're better off for it. Go do something else. Maybe come back to it later if you need to. But at 14-0 before the first half was over, I knew the game was over. I saw it getting pushed around up front. I'm like, this isn't going to change.
I was 14-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah. So I didn't see it changing the way our offense was doing and our offensive line. So we try to get better every day as Husker fans. We try to get better every day on the Husker schedule or on the Husker roster. We got guys. It's not that they're not trying. They're young and they're getting beat up. That's all I can really say right now. We wanted to make this kind of a short show because I didn't want to. There's nothing really to highlight yesterday. I love Vedral to death. I'm glad he got the start. Whether it's him or Martinez in 2 weeks against Indiana, we got to be fans and we got to stick by him no matter what.
Yeah, just get some rest for 2 weeks.
And by God, on social media,
stronger.
Don't start threatening other Husker fans. We really don't want to have to block you. Don't put out threats. It's just stupid. Once again, it's a rabbit hole. If you're trying to get angry, just get away, step away. Social media is probably the worst thing that ever happened to America, or the world, I should say. All right, well, that's all we got. Hope you guys have a good rest of the weekend. I don't think we'll probably be back next week unless we want to talk about the Indiana game. But again, I haven't watched Indiana this year. I don't think they're that good.
I think they shut out Rutgers.
But we're also not good, so it's really hard to say what's going to happen moving forward. So hopefully we come back in a couple weeks. We'll find out more about who's going to be playing probably on Friday before we play Indiana. So suck it, reporters.
Props to South Carolina for knocking off Georgia yesterday.
Yes, if you guys didn't watch that game, it was a beautiful game. Even though they tried to screw South Carolina in the last play of the game. But South Carolina came out on top. Good game for them. Glad Georgia got knocked off. But guess what? SEC will still have a chance. That's all we got. I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're Two Average Guys. You guys have a great night. And for those that joined in and asked questions, thank you. If you got more, keep bringing them. We'll do our best to answer them through the night.
We'll see you next time.
Good night again.